joined. So we have gone live now. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking time out to attend today's webinar on Wood Innovations, What's New, What's Next. My name is Nirmala Thomas and I'm the Director Market Development at FI India. The webinar duration will be of approximately 1 hour in duration. Before we begin with the session today, just allow me a few seconds to introduce to you Canadian Wood. Canadian Wood is also known as FI India, the Crown Agency of the Government of British Columbia in Canada. We are a non-profit organization with a mandate to educate and promote use of BC forest products in the offshore markets of India. British Columbia is recognized as a global leader in sustainable forest management. Canadian Wood has been actively promoting wood as a sustainable raw material in various applications in India through its 5 legally sourced species, namely spruce pine fir, western hemlock, Douglas fir, yellow cedar, and western red cedar. For as long as one can remember, wood has been an indispensable part of architecture throughout history. Indian architecture and interior design in India has been long partial to wood for many decades. Manufacturers in India as well as abroad are known to have used wood in interiors as well as exteriors in quite a few of their projects. Some of their work not only showcases wood in its liberal form, but also sometimes it is shown as a hero of the project. With that in mind, today's session, we will try and cover one, the primary approaches to large-scale structural wood construction, including different styles of hybrid, post and beam, laminated, tongue and groove, and wood frame construction. We'll be also discussing the benefits and drawbacks of structural wood systems and their contribution to sustainable design and building. Without taking much of your time, I would now like to hand over to Peter Bradfield, Technical Advisor, Canadian Wood, to formally introduce each guest speaker for the day and take this webinar ahead. Over to you, Peter. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, Norma, and yeah, welcome everyone to what's next and what's coming up. It's my pleasure to be here today and to introduce our speakers. Our first speaker today, Ankush Seth, was born in Chandigarh, raised in Delhi. He is an interior design graduate. Describes himself as Mr. Contractor. I'm told he's a father, carpenter, home chef, fiction reader, budding audiophile, and dog lover. I think that's the best resume ever, Ankush. But like most of us, he loves India and the Indian life and all of its chaos and complexities. His work reflects beautifully engineered spaces. And when it comes to timber construction, I've noticed a leaning toward the post and beam method. His commitment to a sustainable approach in architecture and design is an inspiration to those like-minded. Founded in 2004 by Ankush, his company, Buildcraft, is a platform for designers, engineers, and craftsmen to collaborate and build beautiful spaces. To me, Ankush is the master at combining wood in your face with local stone, masonry, steel, and glass, but also using wood in a subtle, classy, and clever way, which takes us by surprise. Quote, sorry, I'm just trying to get this quote. We are design graduates turned professional contractors. We are a modern Indian enterprise that celebrates local skills and materials, ingenuity and workmanship, quality and service. We build with timber, steel and concrete, often in the old style, but with new techniques, while always seeking sustainable construction practices and responsible design. So with that quote, it's my privilege to introduce our next speaker, Ankush Seth.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Ankush, and thank you, Peter. That was very nice. I would like to present our work, and before that, just give you a brief about what exactly we do. Kraft India is a fit-out contracting firm. We are privileged to collaborate with some of the best known and accomplished design firms and architectural firms in the country, and we mainly concentrate on residential projects now, but we have a fair bit of experience in hospitality and bespoke commercial. So starting with our presentation, we would like to give you a taste of exactly what we do, where we come from, and our journey with timber, what we've learned, and what we've accomplished, and what we find exciting. So I'm going to show you some slides of the kind of projects we do at Kraft India. High-end residential interior fit-outs is our forte, and whether it's DLF camellias, magnolias, farmhouses, these are the works which we are, that's the core of our business. Hospitality fit-outs, we like to work on bespoke projects. Hence, we seek the same when we're doing hospitality work. Again, residential fit-outs, retail, hospitality in terms of restaurants, and now our new journey with structure. Now in structure, like Peter said, we like to combine timber with steel, with stone, and when we work solely with timber, we prefer the post and beam style of construction. We find it it's uncomplicated. It's the true style of working with wood, and because we like to consider ourselves purists when we work with any material, I feel post and beam is something which dovetails with our skill set the best. So our journey with timber really began in the year 2013 when we started fit outs for a hospitality project. Unfortunately, it's still not completed due to some issues, but this was in Kangra, Himachal Pradesh, and we needed 20,000 cubic feet of engineered timber to complete the fit outs for this project. Let me show you the images of the room so you can understand that how a large part of the interior finishes is timber, and it's been used in combination with stone. This project was designed by Studio Lotus, and we figured out that there is just no way that we can legally source that much amount of timber of a certain grading, and in that short period of time. And that's when we started looking around, and we came in touch with the Canadian wood people. And at that point in time, Brian's predecessor was part of the organization, and we decided to, at that point in time, work with Western Red Cedar. So Ras Kangra is a project where we worked with Western Red Cedar for making glulam doors, claddings, panelings, partitions, external glazing systems, simply engineered, shoji partitions, and instead of using conventional PU coatings or even oil coatings, we decided to go for the old school shellac coating, which is basically a polish using a resin compound, and it's held up very well. It's been now almost 7 years, more than 7 years since this project has been around. The next project we would like to talk about is our first experience with post and beam construction. So this is the Akar Villa, the Kapoor Villa, which is also in Himachal Pradesh. We were recommended by Canadian Wood to do the millwork part of this house. And the architect, Mr. Gurpreet Singh, was looking for someone to do the structural part. And being a senior architect, he was able to bully us into taking up the structural component, which we were not comfortable doing at that point in time. But I'm so glad he did that, because this was a turning point for us, because from here on, we realized that our skill set as engineers and our finishing skills has allowed us to venture into a structural space, and post and beam construction suits our style of working. And so this is the Akar / Kapoor Villa. in Himachal Pradesh. It's a Douglas fir post and beam structure. Very simply engineered. We just used metal mild steel components as connectors for jacketing and extension pieces. And this is something which we've carried on to our further projects as well. As we go along, I'll show you some other projects where we've done this. So this was also our first experience of doing using Canadian timber as completely outdoor components for glazing systems, shutters, and we did these very simply engineered hinge shutters and DGO glass glazings. The detailing is really simple, but it's also quite awe-inspiring when you are inside the structure. It's got a cathedral feel to it. So one of the joys of building with timber is that timber structures don't need much interior intervention. The way the play of light, the texture of timber, that itself renders a really magical effect to the space. And so it's actually quite exciting to be in a timber structure. Switching on to a retail fit out. Now, this was a project which we again did with Studio Lotus in 2019. This was for the brand Good Earth. They were starting a new vertical called Paro. And for this, they wanted to do a space which had a more of a museum quality to it. Wanted to work with few materials, and timber being one of them. Bricks. These are bricks which we've used were from an old Haveli in Punjab, and simply plastered walls. But wood being the hero over here, and the idea was to use a Japanese technique, which is basically where you burn the timbers instead of using a coating on it, and it's normally used as an exterior cladding finish. It's called Shosugiban, and but the challenge with Sugiban is that once you burn the timber, you open up the pores and it becomes susceptible to catching dirt, particulate matter, any kind of fiber which is there in the environment. So we, instead of using Sugiban, we decided to brush the timber. This is all Douglas fir, and then do a combination of oil and PU coating. We developed this technique with a lot of trial and error, and the entire store was done using this cabinetry work, paneling, beams, claddings, and it's now been up for about 3 years, and it's given us very good results. This is something which we've recently completed, and this is Devanya in Uttarakhand. Devanya is basically it's a villa development, and as you can see, these villas are built on a slope. The idea of the woods villa is that it's literally sits amongst the trees. It's a mild steel weave superstructure. The architecture is again done by Studio Lotus. The structural design was done by Manjunath from Bangalore, and essentially it's a steel building, but clad with timber and slate. The timber used for cladding on the exteriors is Western red cedar. You can see here we've done a combination of Western red cedar siding along with slate. The idea was to use Kangra slate, but unfortunately that's not legally mined anymore. So we've used Rajasthan slate over here. The jambs for the doors, external glazings and doors is Douglas fir, and there is a lot of interior cladding which is being done in Douglas fir. Again, we've done blue lamp doors, panelings, claddings. So Devanya is an exciting project because it brings the new technology of construction along with the old school luxury interior language, and we are planning to build a lot more with this technique. As you can see, the same. It's a very light structure. The same. The ceiling structures are literally seem like they're floating interior to exterior. Now, this is a project which we are doing in Goa at the moment. This is a post and beam construction. This is actually an extension to a large house. The main house, as you can see on the picture on the right, behind the tree, is actually a Portuguese-style villa. And the guest blocks of the house are now being done in a post and beam construction. This is with Alva Architects, Ashwin Alva, very Delhi-based, very technical, very accomplished, very precise, and very daring. It was Ashwin's idea to take up this construction in post and beam style, Douglas fir again, and like I mentioned in the beginning, we've used scissor plates, mild steel connectors over here. We've done an FCV cladding with an SBS membrane on top, and the external cladding is almost like a rain screen kind of a construction. It's basically slats of Western red cedar with a 10 mm gap, and it's sitting on again on a timber frame, so the water actually seeps through and runs over the FCB base, which has a waterproofing membrane. So this project is now heading towards final completion. Goa, obviously, as you know, has monsoon months, and COVID has also been brutal, but the structures have held up really well. These structures have now been up for about 3 years, and so this is the third monsoon which they are now enduring, and it's worked out really well. Apart from this, we've done a fair bit of construction using for our residential projects, extensions, pergolas, all of that kind of stuff, and it's been a very good experience working with timber. It's been timber construction requires discipline, planning, and I think these are aspects which we've now been able to bring to our overall business and construction methodology, and this association with timber and Canadian wood has really helped us a lot. So yeah, that's it from us.
Thank you, Ankush. Yeah, over to you, Peter. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Ankush. That was wonderful. Very impressive. I noticed you used the word simple a few times in that presentation, and I mean, I agree, simple, but I have to say sophisticated. So diverse, the interior work that you're doing, beautiful hybrid designs. I loved your phrase, you know, wood being the hero. That certainly came through in that presentation, and certainly was obvious or evident in the images that you shared with us today. So at the end of the session, I'm sure there'll be some questions for you. Meantime, it's my pleasure to introduce Sanjay Sharma, our next speaker. Welcome, Sanjay. Sanjay is a force of nature, I think, whose drive and enthusiasm is contagious. He's an entrepreneur at heart. He achieved early success at a young age with his furniture business, leading to a successful chain of high-end stores in North India called O2 Furniture. I think that might have been Sanjay's initial foray into manufacturing with wood, which fired his passion and led him to conceive of the idea of wooden houses in India in 2006. I think Sanjay likes to be first mover, and he certainly was. And what a wonderful networker he is, both inside and outside of India. This can be seen through his valuable associations in China, Canada, and Finland, and the company's large footprint across India. Sanjay Sharma is the founder of Woodbarn India, and through his experience, dedication, and focus, has made Woodbarn a leader in the field of prefabricated timber buildings. The company has an impressive body of work throughout the country, and I'm sure some of that work will be featured in Sanjay's talk today. Passionate about eco-friendly solutions when it comes to wood structures, a dedicated fan of Canadian spruce pine fir in his prefab laminated T&G houses, resorts and hotel rooms, Sanjay and his team are relentless in their pursuit of a wood building culture in India. It's my pleasure to introduce Sanjay Sharma.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Sanjay Sharma from Woodbarn, and thanks, Peter, for such good words about me. Rather, you made my day today. And introduce about my company, Woodbarn India. We are the first mover, as you said, and we have been pioneer in this the wooden construction. We were the first people who got this uh, concept of wooden structures in India, and that too long back in 2006 when we started. And till now, we have done more than 600 structures all over India, pan India, all over, rather, every part of India we've done now. And we have done more than 9, 10 5-star resorts till now. And next slide is. But before this, we have faced a lot of challenges in terms of acceptance of this product. And initially, when we started, it was very hard to sell wooden houses. But gradually, by creating a lot of awareness, doing a lot of exhibitions, conventions, conclaves, and we hired PR agency, and we realized instead of selling the houses, we should first educate people about the advantages of wooden structures against the conventional structure or other methodology or the other constructions. So then gradually it picked up. Now we're doing pretty well, and I'm very thankful to Canadian Wood and FII. I was the only one who was doing this initiative of putting up all that awareness campaigns and all that. We did CRIDA, MCHI, we did ASTEC, Delhi, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, Mumbai. We have done trade fairs. We have done a lot to the youngsters, especially the architectural students, the interior design students. We thought like we catch them young and watch them grow. See, we initiated there first, the institutes. That's all. But since FII has come for the last 3-4 years, they're actually now doing much, to boost the wooden construction and the creating awareness about the wooden this thing in India. Okay, but in this even IIM has done a case study about a company. It says Woodbarn India trying to break the concrete mindset, and now it is even published in Harvard's Business Review, and this is also in the curriculums of Ivy, Cambridge's, as students, or maybe a lot of other management colleges all over the world, and which go through our case study. And this case study is not all about go gaga about our success. This case study only talks about what is India's mind block, and acceptance to a product is a little more longer. And when we started this, everybody was talking about termite, the longevity, the security, or the fire hazard, or the life hazard. But then gradually, a lot of people have started traveling abroad also, and a lot of structures all over the world are in wooden houses. But this case study is like, it shows what, it's $9 you have to download, but you don't have to do that. You can go to a website, woodbarnindia.com, where it is there to read about. And the next, I will talk about the projects. Till now, we've done 600 projects, 600 structures all over India. This project, which you see on the screen, is the Tamra Kurg, and it was done by Mr. Mahesh Iyer, who is one of the genius architects in India. Has done a lot of 5-star properties all over India, and rather, I will say this project has given me the biggest break ever, and I realized, because this project is owned by Mr. Shibulal, who is the promoter of Infosys. He was already started on this project, and it started with the regular carpenters and masoners, and they started making these mock-up house, and it took them 1.5 years. And one day, Mr. Mahesh Iyer has gone through one of our articles, which were there in the Business Standard, which was saying if a builder promises to make a house in 15 days, he'll be declared insane. But that's not the case with a Delhi-based company, Woodbarn India, which promises to deliver. So that strike him that, this is something, the turnaround time of the project will be faster. In terms of opportunity cost, if you make fast, you can sell fast. So then he gave us the first, though we were very small at that time, but he showed uh, a lot of this thing in us, and then we managed to get this contract. And similarly, the next project also was given uh, uh, by him only, but the Club Indra gave it to us on his recommendation. This was the floating cottages at Ashtamani backwaters in Kerala. And if you see Club Mahindra, all these major advertisements and everything, this is their flagship project, and they promote this project in all of their advertisements. And actually, it's very beautiful. And we're still working on, if you see these, the villas, at end of it, we are extending another 10 more, and we're doing a floating restaurant. We're still working on it because they are extending it more. And there are a lot of projects to explain, but within a short span of time, I'll set few. This is one more project I'm talking about. It is around. It is in Oli, a skiing resort in Uttarakhand at an altitude of 12,400 something feet above sea level, and this was non-motorable roads, uphill. And what is the advantages of these wooden, especially these double TNG tongue and groove structures, is that you manufacture them in factory and go install them on site in no time. So in the remote areas, doing a conventional construction is too difficult and too problematic, and so much time consuming. And but these prefabricated structures, especially our log cabins, log huts, we can do on site in no time, and it can be manufactured in site. And apart from just one thing. Apart from this, in very remotest of places like Taluka, Sakri, Osla, Sima, Harkidun, we have done a lot of for the Uttarakhand tourism. We have done a lot of dormitories for them. These are again 13,400, 14,000 feet above sea level, non-motorable roads, extreme places, remote places, and that we have done these. And the next I pick up is this one is the pavilion at Dharamshala, which is now being managed by Redison. And this is a 5-star hotel. We have done 42 keys in this, and a restaurants and a spa and service areas and everything we have done in this. And this also was done in a span of less than 9 months. Normally, things like these, a hotel like these will take 3-4 years to come up. Just imagine if they've done it into 9 months, you start making money by the time you go to the 3rd year. So you've made enough money, it's actually probably, if these wooden structures might be a little more expensive than the conventional structure. If you see the opportunity cost, probably it is worth it, and it's cheaper only. And it's a clean construction. People never talk about water involved in construction. These are clean structures. You don't never require water or other things. All prefabricated. And see, there's so many projects to talk about. We have done ITC Leh. We have done we're doing Taj Silicate Lake right now in Alwar. We have done the ITC in Himachal also for HPC only, and many more. And like in Ibni Spa in Madigiri we have done, and there's so many. I'm forgetting. So this is the next technology, which is called the tongue and groove. So they were, when we started in 2006, we actually managed to do all this 3-4 format. What Ankush was talking about, post and beam, the frame structures, and the SIP technology, and the tongue and groove. The tongue and groove has been the oldest form of. It's been the oldest form of terminology for wooden structures, and it is basically the two border panels which fits into each other, which is a tongue and a groove. Tongue, I can explain. This is the tongue, you can see, and that's the groove. They fit into each other, like see those wooden flooring. like they fit into each other like this. If you see that section, and on the edges, it gets cross-connected like this. Yeah, it gets cross-connected like this. So it becomes very sturdy, it becomes very monolithic, and it has a lot of longevity. And we're doing this a double laminated glue lamp, which makes it even more stronger. Basically, TNG is not a rocket science thing. Like it is basically, it is a construction drawing is there. Then every logs or the panels have been labeled, and you can slide into one another and gets connected on the edges, and that's how they are made. So we realized this technology was the easiest to start, and this has been a long 500, 600, 1,000 years old technology, but still evergreen. And it is just basically like those Legos that kids used to get. Just see the construction drawing.
Sorry to interrupt, Sanjay. Sanjay, you have 2 more minutes, if you don't mind. Sure. Thank you.
Okay. This is too long that you can go through, and I'll talk about. Okay, we talk about this structure that we did in 12 hours at an exhibition in India Wood. So it was basically we to do a 650, almost 650 square meter of structure in 12 hours from start to finish. We did that in Bangalore, which was planned well and which was executed well, designed by Akshara, our architect, and was executed by our technical director, Mr. Sanjay Sharma. And basically, the advantage of these houses are that it can be dismantled. So it can be taken from place to place, you mantle it and dismantle it. And there are a lot of places in India, like seaside covered by water, where you normally can't construct anything. So they fall in a temporary this thing, and you don't have to get licenses or the permissions from the authorities, or they can be dismantled. So the next is skip this. These are the structures that you can see now, which that house we made in Bangalore, we put it up in a Goa property. We are using this Canadian species, especially in these structures. We use walls with the SPF because they are very strong, and we use normally the floor joist with Western cedar, and we use the decking with the red cedar, and then Douglas fir, we use it for rafters and for paneling and cladding. This is few of the interiors pictures you can see, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you
Very much. Yeah, wonderful photos. I mean, what I noticed in India over the years is that when people show interest in a timber structure, they really want to see the wood. And I think the beauty of these buildings that Woodbarn do is that they're very wood centric. There's wood outside, there's wood inside, and if it's done in a quality way, which of course, as you see, these are done, it really does tick a lot of boxes for people. So Sanjay and Woodbarn have really done the hard yards, I think, over the years introducing timber construction. And the work that you're doing, that Woodbarn is doing, it very much complements the promotion activity of Canadian wood in terms of promoting and talking about the features and benefits of wood in construction. So I think educating the market's been a huge success, and it was a really brilliant idea to I think, specialise in TNG and in a temporary prefab style buildings, which you can build and dismantle and move in coastal regions and so on. So wonderful. Thanks for that presentation. Okay, so let's move on to our next speaker, who's someone I know well. Akarsh Tiwari is the junior member of our presenters today. Akarsh is a talented architect and designer with a fresh approach, always optimistic and always smiling. He was an enthusiastic member of FII's Building with Wood training courses, 2 of them actually, held over 9 days each, And I worked with Akarsh on the construction of WoodNiido's initial display home, featured at Delhiwood 2019. So we spent lots of time together, and I know he's hands-on and fun to work with. Graduating with a Bachelor of Architecture from Hindustan University, Akarsh is a strong believer in sustainable architecture and the use of natural materials to create spaces which blend seamlessly with their surroundings. He believes in the synchronicity of nature and building materials, so keeping designs green and eco-friendly comes naturally to him. Through his experience of working with all 5 species of Canadian wood available in India, in a wide range of products, from furniture to fine joinery, to construction, to interior fit-outs, and outdoor products, actually. Akarsh and his close-knit team at WoodNiido have a unique understanding of working with softwoods in the hospitality and residential sectors. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Akarsh Tiwari, Head of Design at Tech Workshop Interiors and CEO WoodNiido.
Hi guys. Thank you so much, Peter, for such a lovely introduction, and Ankush and Sanjay for a beautiful presentation they gave on wood and construction techniques wood. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing my screen now.
Akash, are you facing any problems?
I think the network is down or something. Just a second, let me check it out. It's not sharing.
Do you want us to share the last one that which you sent across?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. Yeah.
Okay. Just give us a second. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Akash, please go ahead.
Yeah.
You'll have to just we'll control the slides from you. Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. So hi, first of all, I would like to introduce my company, that's WoodNiido, and what we do. We are, a strong believer of wood frame constructions. That is a little bit different from tongue and groove and the other structure you just heard about. So next one. Next slide. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So let me start by giving you a small brief on what we are and what we do. So we started the journey, say 2.5 years back, when we got approached by Canadian Wood, and the whole idea of making houses out of wood in India was so new to me, as being in general practice of constructing with concrete and other basic materials which we already use. So when we started the first idea of making a complete house with wood, it was very new to me, and at the same time it was very interesting. So digging in deeper, I went in saying, okay, now how do we start? So I'll split it down. I'll split down the whole construction in a very basic steps throughout my presentation. So first, let me take you through the methodology on how we start with it. Okay. So as any construction is has to have a base, a plinth, or any generic form of substantial ground to stand on. So we here for this project poured a monolithic slab. Monolithic slab was poured by for a stronger strength, so we avoid cracks and so we avoid unstable grounds. And also the next part of the construction is modular. Thinking about dismantling the whole house and taking it to a place and assembling it all together is very, very, very amusing and very nice. So we incorporated this inside our type of construction. And also when I say state of the art construction, I love it when, you can create any form of geometrical shapes, or you can go to any extent of material application on a single factor wood. It doesn't have to be that your walls are concrete and then you can go for a stone finish or whatever it is. The whole idea of having wooden walls and going for any finishes on the outside and inside is just so amusing and so nice. Can you just go to the next slide, please? Yeah, the one before, yeah. So now I'll just take you through how we make our wall panels and how we start off with it. So next one, next slide. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so before we start any construction, these are not so boring points to consider. I know it's a little bit of theory, but these are very, very needed. So basically we follow 16-inch panels, gaps between each stud in a panel. Say I have an 8-foot panel, 8-foot wall. I need to follow 16 inches center in the each stud I lay. And, selecting the right wood or species for usage, like say structural importance. When I say structural importance, I give it a lot to SPS, spruce pine fir. Those guys are the main pillars why houses stand and why we have such good structural stability. And then completing the complete structure has to be water resistant and designed. See, as we make for houses with wood, the main thing that everyone's general mindset is, what if there's some water? What are the termites coming in? Okay, well, we have a solution for all of those. So we make grooves, we make profiles, we make flashings all around the house, all around the openings. That gives us a very nice, say, defense against all the water criteria that attack on your house. And also we use a layer of Tyvek, before we put the cladding outside on the exterior. So there's a whole moisture barrier generated in your structure. And making sure the walls are plumb and are straight is a very important thing in any kind of construction. Let it be wood or let it be concrete or whatever it is. And especially when it's wood frame construction, when we are framing construction, the 90 and the angle just needs to be on the dot. Because if not done right, things can go wrong and can be a very big issue later on, part of construction. Okay, then making sure insulation is in place. Yeah, insulation is a very, very vital fact. You don't have your insulation, your sound barrier reduces, your comfort level reduces. So yeah, these are very important factors. And yeah, most of all, getting the right gutter system in. Gutter systems are very, very vital. Say through the long course of Indian monsoons and all the other factors we face and droplets and dew droplets in the winters, the gutter systems are very important. If not, the area around the house and the plinth that the house stands on gets affected in a long duration. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. Now let's build a wood frame house, keeping points I've told you. So now let's go forward. Yeah, next. Yeah. So when we started building WoodNiido is basically our house that we manufactured, transported to 2 cities, and then brought it back to Chennai and set it up there for good. So we call it WoodNiido, and we also named the company behind it. So we usually start any of our designs with sketches and interpreting how it's going to look, what form do we want, can we actually achieve that form in the structure of with an element like wood. And so yeah, then we go to the planning stage. We do the planning, we do the basic planning, layouts, and all that is done. After that, the whole idea of being modular. Okay, now fine, I know how to make a house. I know I have this design. I know how I want to make a house. I know I want to show it up further for the client. Now, how do I make this at point A and go at point B? The transportation is a very, very, very logistical thing that we need to go about. So I have taken this, as you see down, there are a few exploded views of the house we have made in our models. So that's how shows we separate our houses in a panel wise form. Say a house will have 9 panels to 14 panels. So it differs on the size of the house and the structural elements that we're going to be using to it. Next slide. Yeah, so this is a basic generational concept when we did WoodNiido back, say 1.5 years back. This is what we thought we want a house to look like. So we went through a few design processes, trial and errors, and obviously a lot of changes in the last. But yeah, this was the beginning of it all. Next slide. Yeah. So once we started, constructing, this was the picture of our site in WoodNiido, where we were building the house, actually building it to dismantle it again. So yeah, it was a fun experience and all. Next. Yeah, these are a few more pictures where you can see, all SPF wood, OSB sheathing done properly right with 16-inch batten in the centers, and the rafters going all the way through. So in this house, we had a very specific thing. We had a slope roof that started at 18 feet and ended at like 15 feet. So we had a continuous drop from the front to the bottom. Next one, please. Yeah. So this is the basic layout of the house. As today, I'm just explaining you about how we build with WFC and what I used in my practice while building the home. So this is the basic layout of the house that I'm going to be showing you today. It's a living room plus 2 bathroom, and it has a powder room and a loft area as well, and 2 pergola areas, just chill and go out. Go next slide, please. So this is the house. As you can see, I told you about the slant roof that you can see in the picture this side. And we have used a lot of ACP and wood together to give it a modern touch, and also at the same time to remain close to the nature and go with the love of wood everywhere and all around. From the window trims to the side coverings to the pergolas, everything, to the cladding, everything is wood. So the cladding you see outside is done by WRC. The whole thing is in WRC, Western Red Cedar, as we call it. It's a very, very, very beautiful material to work with. And me personally, I love the aroma it smells of, it gives out. So yeah, it's a very long lasting wood also, and has amazing seasonal properties. Can we go next? Yeah, so this is the entrance of the house, where you can see the pergola slanting down. We just try to give an inverted pergola. Usually people, give it up straight or upright. We try to give it, so when you're having a cup of tea in the morning, you're sitting down, you have all rain pouring over you, but you're just in it, you're not getting wet, and you're just enjoying the water droplets falling through the front. And this is the main door in the center of the picture. The main door was a key. I liked it so much, me personally, while designing it, because I love the handlebar and I love the usage of wood in this. The possibilities were enormous. I found out like great structural strength, the structural capacity of the Canadian wood we used in this. Can you go next? Yeah. So we created an outdoor dining area also. We elevated the whole feel by adding a good pergola and keeping in Western Red Cedar, pillars to support the whole pergola. And a beautiful, the table you see there is of finger jointed board, FJBs. So yeah, we used all of it, and thumbs up, it came out really. As an architect, as a designer, with the usage of these woods in the particular properties where it was meant to be used. Can we go next? Yeah, these are a few more pictures for you. And as you see, this is the entrance where the bench is placed. This is the entrance of our house. So the whole area where you see down, there's a carpet of WRC cutout blocks, which were recovered from wastage of our, usage. And I really don't like to waste materials up much. I go in and recycle it again and again, and make something out of it. That's what we stand for. We recycle, rebuild, and be natural. That's what we are for. And so these tiles were created as a carpet, a wood carpet for the entrance, which was coated with epoxy. Can we go next?
Akash, you have just 3 minutes more, yeah?
Yeah. And this is the living room where we used extensive use of yellow cedar, Douglas fir, and also huge open windows to let in good amount of light and natural breathing space to circulate in. Can we go next? Yeah, this is a highlight of our project. We did a spiral staircase, which we cladded it up with wood, and the center pillar you see in there, there is no steel or aluminum or any kind of I section, anything used. It's completely out of wood. So yeah, it was a very beautiful event. I would call it an event, the making of this whole staircase. Can we go next? Yeah, and as I told you, we have 2 bedrooms in the house. One of them was a very light theme bedroom where we had, a queen posted bed and a natural bathroom with soft colors. Can we go next? This is the master bedroom. Master bedroom, we wanted to keep it a little luxurious, heavy, and pleasing to eyes. For my choices may differ. And in the bathroom, we had a good use of skylight, that light popping in, good use of WRC on the wall for the shower area, which we coated with the wax and PU after that. Can we go next? These are the different types of doors we tried in the whole construction. We didn't want to keep it monotonous in the same. So we tried a louvered door. We tried a fluted glass door. Can we go next? Yeah, so this was us. This was about our construction. And this is what we do. We stand for building in wood. We stand for wood frame construction. And we stand for being all natural. Can we go next? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Akarsh. Now, since we are running tight on time, so what we'll be doing right now is we'll be addressing the questions raised in the Q&A panel. And I guess we have 15 minutes to answer these. Peter will be moderating the same. He'll take the best of, I think, probably 10 questions is maximum that we can answer. Peter, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Nirmala. Thanks, Akash. That was fantastic. Great presentation. I mean, I love that spiral staircase. I love the way you guys use all of the offcuts and the small pieces of wood, to make wooden tiles, to make parquetry flooring, to make a tile wall in the bathroom. Very imaginative, wonderful work. Congratulations. I think you've got a couple of people interested already online. I had a quick review of the Q&A. There's an awful lot of questions there about, for each of you. Certainly for Ankush, but I think for all of you, about how wood works in the Indian climate. So there's a lot of questions about weather, about waterproof, about water resistance and UV and termites. And perhaps I can just lead in by saying that what we've seen here is wonderful design, and so building with wood is all about good design. So that we really have to think about orientation. We have to think about the sunlight. We have to think about weather, and we have to build in some weatherproofing elements into the house, and also some termite resistance into the house. So all of this is done in these buildings. So perhaps I'll pass it over to Ankush. How do you have any concerns, Ankush, about weather and also this will probably lead into coatings, what kind of coatings you prefer to use on your cladding?
So like you said, when selecting timber, actually timber selection is based on, like you said, interior exterior usage, orientation. I would like to think that in India, we get a varied climate, and we like to pick up timbers which would work across India. So from Himachal to Goa, we are working with the same species, and we've had a good experience. Yes, coatings need to be for timber. The kind of coatings we prefer using for outdoor is oil coatings. They tend to be easier to apply, easier to reapply, and because of their natural elasticity, they'll tend to react better to the thermal issues, which are quite prevalent, actually, not only in across all of India, because even in up at about 2100 meters, it gets 30 degrees in peak summers these days. So in terms of termite, see, the thing is that any timber can be termite resistant. I haven't come across any natural timber which is termite proof. So now termite is something which you need to account for in terms of plinth protection systems. They are very widely available. Drip systems are now there, with which you can encase the entire plinth. But the basic thing about working with timber is, which I had also touched upon, is it's planning and discipline. So you cannot build with timber and wing it. You need to be careful about how you design, how you build, where you build, how it's treated. And yeah, it works really well. If you were to say an apple-to-apple comparison of a concrete structure, timber clad, versus a timber structure, which is timber clad, I would say in cost, I wouldn't say there is much difference. In terms of longevity, the timber structure finish will last you much better. In terms of luxury and finish, there is no comparison.
Yeah, well said. I couldn't agree more. Just before I leave you though, you raised there something about, the cost, and to give someone a meaningful cost estimate, what information do you need from the customer? What level of detail do you need in the drawings, for instance, to sort of come up with a design that you can quote a price on?
So actually, so since we are not a product company and we are a projects company, for us, we don't have ready solutions available as such. We would require a complete project brief, but we would also need to design a structure. So for us, every structure is designed ground up, and every structure is special and every structure is different. To get a quote from someone like us, there's a much longer engagement which is required, and a lot more information to work with us.
Thank you. Perhaps I can just pass that question on to Ankush also. Sorry, on to Akarsh also. Akarsh, what level of drawings do you need? What information do you need in order to give a kind of a ballpark price for building a wood frame construction house?
Yeah, see, Peter, for giving out a quote on a kind of construction in the work we do, I would basically, what we look into from the client side is a good drawn up plan with specific details on the levels, as going multi-levels in a single floor plan plays a very big role. Specific details in the drawings, and also the choice of materials they really want to put out there.
Right.
Yeah, because if they want a chimney, we need to do potential kind of coatings and whole thing that comes up with it. It's a whole package. It just does not come as a chimney alone, and it just does not come as a wall alone. It's a whole package. So we would require details like good wall details, good corner details, good threshold details, and yeah, that should do good.
And when you quote on a house, what's included? Does the customer have to supply his own plinth? Do you include the electrical and plumbing and fixtures and so on, kitchen, bathroom, all of that?
Correct. So when we quote for a house, what comes with us is basically all the electrical fittings, all the basic electrical fittings, plumbing fittings, the basic flooring done, insulation in the wall, gypsum done right, interior walls finished, and the wall cladded. So these are all the basic things we offer when you approach us.
Ready to move in. Yeah. So
you
kind of know the cost up front, and then it's ready to move in.
Yeah. If you're comfortable with the brands, you can just open the key and pop into your house. That's it. There you are. Yeah.
Can I switch to Sanjay? Sanjay, I know you do a lot of in-house design, so I think I'm not sure that you need sophisticated drawings, but you need obviously a plan and some elevation drawings. I know that you do a lot of in-house design. Is it important for you to have the drawings from the customer, or can you do that for the customer?
Probably we have a lot of even standard designs where people choose it and we make it, but we do tailor-made, customize anything what the client wants. So they give us our feedback and what exactly, for example, a 2-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, 1 small pantry, maybe a veranda in the front. So all they keep telling us, we make it them very simple. We ask them just like a layman, you draw it with a red pen, whatever you put it on the paper
Okay.
as a layman, give it to
Yeah.
us on a WhatsApp, and our the architectural team will design it accordingly, and that's how we do it. And we
I thought so, yeah.
and even we have some softwares also, which are specifically for this log cabin construction, logger construction. So we just give them information to the software makes it, and we send it to the clients.
Yeah, one of the great advantages of your building style is the fact that you can pre-coat the entire wall element in the factory. So
Yes.
as you explained, you make these tongue and groove profiles, laminated 70mm thick walls,
Yes,
very
yes.
strong, good spans, all
So-
pre-made in the factory. You basically just take it to the site and put it together. But
Yes.
people probably should understand that you actually pre-coat all of those sections on every side with a wall coating before you put it up. So the weather issue is not a problem for you.
Yes, we normally do it because once you go to we use an isolator. It's basically an impregnation in the wood, and it is all 6 sides of the wood the pores have been impregnated, and all the pores have been filled. In that case, it becomes anti-fungal and anti-termite. Normally, if you send a raw wood, if not pre-coated, we do a stainer coat and a top coat, and we do the final coat at site. The reason behind doing is because if we send the raw wood at site with the exterior climate and the humidity and the weather, it makes it fungal. You have dark patches on the wood.
Yes.
And once we do tongue and groove one over the other, then we can't isolate it, because
Right.
we have to do all 6 parts of the wood. Once they are fitted in one another, then you can't do it. So that is one reason we do it from the factory and send it. Yeah.
And can I ask you, Sanjay, when you quote a price for a structure, what's included in your quote? Is it including electrical and plumbing, or does the customer have to provide the plumbing?
What happens is this especially our places like our country, like there's a lot of blame game. So if we do the shell and somebody else does the plumbing, somebody else does the electrical, somebody else is a mason. So something goes wrong, there's blaming each other. So that's why we are an A to Z, a turnkey solution company. We used to do earlier, we have tried we've done 600 houses, we have done 5,000 mistakes. But from every mistake, we have learned something or the other. But we've not become masters yet, but quite close to it now, because your experience matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Ankush, coming back to you, I love that house that you built up in the hill, and I think you've got more to build. Is this an advantage in using wood in these difficult terrain, and in the treetops, and access wise and so on, and lifting wise? I mean, I know the answer, but I think maybe it's worth talking about.
Yeah, so obviously, working with timber, allows you to you work with ready sections. What's going to site is what's going to be installed. So what you're transporting is what's going to be used. Also in terms of, these are finished sections. So like what Sanjay was saying, so on-site work, but also on-site disruption. One of the biggest challenges working in any eco-sensitive zone, and since we do a lot of work in the vacation home space, which is either in the hills or in locations like Goa, is that you do not want to be disrupting a lot of the surrounding area while constructing.
Yes.
You don't want to have a lot of debris, refuse material left behind after you're done construction. You also don't want to be transporting too much of labor across, because when you have a lot of workmen and labor on site, you also need to have areas for accommodation and as such. So working with materials like timber, there are not only direct advantages in terms of eco-sensitive approach, but also indirect advantages. Canadian woods like Canadian, and also a lot of people would ask, like, why Canadian timber? Like, why are we suddenly talking so much about it? one, it's FSC certified. It is not stolen timber. It's not illegally logged timber, and also it's graded timber. So the less raw material you use, the less pollution you're going to create, the less wastages there are going to be. So it's all a cycle, it's all a chain. And so yeah, working with materials like graded finished timber does help the environment.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And I, just adding to that, that's certainly the major advantage of using Canadian species, is that we have 5 species, including durable species for outdoor use and structurally graded species for construction, which we're talking about today. And just, the variety of species gives you this choice of beautiful finishes and looks. Akash.
Sorry to interrupt. Peter, you have last 2 questions.
Oh, we have so many questions. I think we've got more than 50 questions. So
yes.
It's a bit difficult to summarise. I can just maybe tell everyone that we will certainly get back to you on all of the questions through our team and through the speakers over the next week or so. So if your question is not answered today, I apologise, but we will certainly get back to you with a answer to each and every one of them. Sanjay, just coming back to you on your TNG style. We talked about the laminated wall section being 70 millimetres. That's particularly important if you're doing a double story structure, I think. And it gives you the advantage, it gives you a lot more strength and ability to span wider, longer distances and put in large windows and large decks and so on. But, you also work in hard to get to sites, hillsides and coastal areas. This is a huge advantage using wood to get to those sites, I think.
Yes. And actually, the strength after doing the laminated timber instead of a single log, the strength of the timber goes 3-4 times more than a concrete, or twice more than a steel. So it is more durable material than steel or the conventional concrete.
Over time, yeah.
And then we also even do, if I can show it to you, when they're longer logs also. So
yeah.
we do this finger joint. You can see this. So we join it together for longer rafters. So we can have pillarless spans. So we can do maybe a 15-meter span pillarless. Normally, if you do something in a concrete, it is too difficult to do that. But this glue lam helps us. The laminated timber help us because of their strength is improved. So it helps us in this thing.
Yes, I think finger joining is a great innovation because you can use shorter pieces of wood. You can make long spans, and the actual finger joint itself is very, very strong.
And so, you please, you'll be the best person to explain it rather than me. Just tell them about how the laminated logs, how do their grains do it on the opposite side? Like, just explain it to rather you'll be doing it better.
That might be a little too detailed for this audience, but yeah, for a manufacturer, I think grain orientation and the glue and the duration, that's all important. I mean, you're doing that already in your factory, so I won't go into detail on that. But I think I'll just finish up now with Akarsh. Akash, I don't know if I have a specific question, but perhaps you'd like to comment about the effect of weather, UV, insects, and so on your structure.
Yeah. So keeping the weather in mind, if you're using an exterior facade of wood, say WRC or any other wood, it's very important that you take care of it. Put on the right coatings at times when needed, exterior graded coatings, and keep it up to date. Keeping the insects in mind. Yes, insects do crawl into structures, and it's very important. That's why when you're erecting up your walls, you go through something is called flashing and insect barrier screening, which usually lay out around the periphery of the house, all the openings, where you have a screen bent down, so which prevents insects coming in and all that. And termite tunnels. Yeah, termite tunnels are really, really a biggest issue considering wood as a construction material. So the flashings take care of that, and also proper treatment should do. Yeah.
There was one question that maybe I should just touch on. That was about fire in a wooden structure. And I think you and I have had this discussion where, you know, we build into the design the fire resistance in terms of the insulation and the gypsum board inside the house. There are multiple layers that will allow that wall to stand up to a fire for at least an hour and allow people to leave the building.
Yeah, yeah. I can't totally, you know, second that, because the whole wood as such gives you a good durability, but when you put in insulation, gypsum, drywall, and all of it, it gives you a good substantial amount of barrier where you have your 40 to 45 minutes of gap to, you know, pack your things and move out and call the fire people in to do their things. But yeah, it's a good barrier.
Yeah, it's a system, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that. With that, I think I'll hand back to Nirmala. And thanks everyone for your attendance today.
Thank you, Peter. It was indeed a very informative and engaging Q&A discussion. I think we all agreed today that today's session was extremely knowledgeable in terms of structural, and basically allowed us to view some of the wonderful projects which the panelists had put forth in terms of structural applications. I think the webinar gave us an opportunity to incorporate wood into the designs, especially when the wood is sourced ethically and responsibly. Wood is a sustainable material, and it definitely helps us to spruce up our interiors and exteriors whenever we would like to build with wood. Just thanking everybody on behalf of Canadian Wood, I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank each panel member for showcasing their work. Ankush Seth for the beautiful interior fit out of the villa project in Devanya Hills. Sanjay Sharma for the lovely resort style laminated TNG house in Goa. And Akarsh Tiwari for the gorgeous WFC house in Chennai. I know you all would have a lot of questions in mind, especially the audience. We'll try our best to capture all these questions from the Q&A panel, document them, and we'll be addressing these questions, especially if you have marked it to the panel speakers. We'll get back to you via email in a couple of days' time. And this will be done by our BDM team members. They'll come back to you individually. If you still would like to know more about Canadian Wood or anything, any project related inquiry that you may have, please do not hesitate to reach out to us by visiting our Canadian Wood website or by contacting any of our business development managers. All the numbers have been mentioned on the website. Do drop in a mail. We'll be most happy to assist you. After the webinar, you'll receive a survey link from Canadian Wood sent directly to your registered email ID. Request you to kindly fill in the feedback form and share with us. It just helps us improve. Just give us your thoughts, your feedbacks, and we definitely look forward to seeing you again at our next webinar. Thank you, my esteemed panelists. Thank you, Peter, for hosting the session and being a lovely moderator. Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.